It's 10 o'clock Sunday morning. Aloha. So I'm kind of stepping in and hosting today because Jane has her 2.5-year-old grandson. So she was not sure how much chaos there would be at her home. So I am here to welcome all of you. We are so grateful and so glad you are all here, and everyone is welcome here. Diversity is the spice of life, right? And so we welcome people of all colors and ethnicities and sexual orientations and religious backgrounds. We just encourage you to come with an open heart and an open mind and be the best self you can possibly be is what we truly encourage here. So thank you for being here, and we're super excited for our talk this morning and all the fun things we have planned. So let's start with our mission statement. So even though you're all muted, go ahead and share and say this with me. We are a vibrant, welcoming, multi-generational, prosperous community embodying love and awakening spiritual consciousness. And so it is. So, and now we are going to take to Soul Shine. And you know what Dave always says, right? So if any of you feel the need to rise to your feet so you can sing and dance along, please do so. And take it away, Soul Shine.
Here we are in this room, knowing we are one. Together we will forever be messengers of love. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Sing with us now, wherever we go. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Take the church, Eric. Wherever we go in peace. Wherever we go in love. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go, we are one. Wherever we go, we are one. Eric, you by yourself. Wherever we go, we are one.
Okay. Now, who else has their coffee and is in their favorite bathrobe this morning? Isn't that the deal that we get to wear that? It is time for celebration. So I need to put my celebration crown on.
Nice.
All feel special, right? When you're celebrating, you got to feel special. So I'm going to read some ones that came in this morning. So Jose messaged in, today is Jaleila's 8th birthday, her infinity birthday. So happy birthday, Jaleila. We wish you a very happy birthday. She's been a member since she was little itty bitty. So Kristen Hawkins is doing a cleanse and has kind of rounded the corner and is actually starting to feel healthier and more pain-free. So we are so celebrating that, the healing of that. Ron also had an incident. His son Andrew had to go into the emergency room yesterday, and he is now in recovery. So we are super grateful and celebrating that he is on his way to recovery. So we will continue to pray with you on that, Ron, for sure. And Jane, did you have a celebration?
I am celebrating that our daughter Emma is down here and our 2.5-year-old son, Colton. Hello.
That's fun. Always fun to visit. And Dave, you were sharing, you had a celebration.
Yeah, last week I saw on Facebook someone posted about needing some help at their little warehouse, and I just talked to him. Totally didn't put two and two together. A blonde moment happened. Then I realized it was Laurel, the new Laurel at our church, Laurel Allen Forrest, and her dad, the advice from a tree, that guy. And then I realized it was her, and I got the job. So it's temporary until the holidays, but I got a job, so that's really exciting.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations, Dave. Anyone else? Do we have anyone else out there in Zoom land who has a celebration? Go ahead and unmute yourself and pipe in.
Hi, I'm Carol Rossio. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say I'm grateful that I have landed in a beautiful condo in Northwest Portland for 6 weeks for the holidays. So I'm enjoying being here and looking at all the beautiful art, and it's just been a great blessing. So that's
well, awesome. We are so happy, but we miss you dearly in Bend, although it's actually not bad because we probably wouldn't be able to see you in person anyway. So at least we get to see your face here.
Exactly. I might be back, who knows? Stay tuned.
Yeah. Donna, were you raising your hand?
Yes, I am. Well, first of all, if we ever have royalty in this country, you are.
Oh, you muted.
You're muted, Donna.
Unmute.
Sorry, I thought I did.
There you go.
Okay. I was going to say that if we ever have royalty in this country, you should be queen because you're rocking that crown. And welcome back, you two. And I'm celebrating that I was able to have such a fun time yesterday doing singing with Soulshine, and thanks to Nico and Maida and everybody on the team that makes that possible. And
Yep. We
super fun.
Yeah. Woo. Okay. Anybody else? Cecilia.
Yes, hi from Squim. I want to thank whoever was praying out there for me, and there were several. I survived a couple of dental disasters. So I think I'm recovering.
Yeah. Good. Always good to hear.
Thank you.
So, wonderful. All right. Well, I have a couple more quick celebrations. So Kevin and I were on a 2-month RV road trip. We went to 9 different states and probably covered at least 7,000 miles. And it was amazing. I mean, those trips are truly life-changing for us. So we're so glad to be back with our family. We did get to tune in a couple times. My other huge celebration is to these 3 wonderful ladies who stepped in and did celebrations for me while I was gone. So we have Donna Benjamin and the beautiful Naomi Steele and Tamara Schmidt. I am so grateful for you guys. So hopefully they did a good job. I just saw a couple of them, but I'm sure they did. So thank you. All right. So what do we got next? Next, we start going to breakout rooms, right? And just do a little sharing. So Nico, you want to put us in breakout rooms?
Just 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes. We're going to do breakout room for 5 minutes.
All right. We are back and we're going to go into prayer. I'm Kevin, if I haven't met you guys before. And it used to be when we all gathered together, I would do prayer once in a while and host once in a while, and occasional talk as one of the prayer team people. So I do want to remind you guys that before we do our prayer, that our prayer claim forms are online, and the link is in the Facebook description. And you can also get to it from the website, but we love it. Our prayer team, which includes quite a few people, we love to pray with you guys, and prayer is an affirmation of what we know to be true, our reality. So it's not asking, begging some outside source. It's really just affirming, and prayer is positive, super powerful. And we've seen some true miracles happen, even in just my time, 4 or 5 years with you guys. I have experienced and seen so many miracles through our prayers and our prayer team. So get them out there. And the prayers don't have to be big, major things in your life. They can be simple little things that you want to affirm or to claim. It's all good. So make sure to get to that link and get those prayers in. And before we get into our talk and everything else, let's settle into a prayer. And as I was thinking about prayer this morning, I got really kind of emotional, remembering the days back when we gathered at the sanctuary, those of you who gathered there before we went to lockdown and shut down, and how we used to be able to pray and to hold hands together and to connect with each other when we were praying. And it just made me so emotional to think about how much I miss being able to just hold hands and pray together, and the energy that creates and the power that creates. And being able to hug you guys, if you guys think about all the people you used to hug and the awesome hugs that you would get from different people, and just what a powerful energy that was being together. So I want to request that we imagine during this prayer that we are holding hands together. Imagine yourself sitting in a big, beautiful space with lots of light, and we have hands together. We're touching each other's hands. It feels so much better than being on Zoom. And it's funny too, because I think we're almost being trained to have resistance to that feeling of touching other people. And I think we really need to keep that in our minds, keep that in our imagination, the feeling of connecting with one another physically. I know that when we physically hold hands and pray together, that prayer has so much more energy. So as we begin to pray, we imagine our hands together. Imagine the warmth of your neighbor's hand and that tingling of their electrical energy, the pulse in their palm. How wonderful that feels, and how much more powerful that feels. How we don't feel alone anymore. We're together, we're connected. And as we think about this connection, this oneness between us all, we can be thankful for this time to gather. We say we are one with all there is. We live in peace and harmony. Our lives filled with abundance of every kind. We know the power of forgiveness. We forgive easily and quickly. And in fact, we have nothing left to forgive because we don't take anything personally anymore. There's nothing left to forgive. We know the power of letting go and letting Spirit, letting God guide us, guide every single step. And we behold the Christ light, that Christ energy glowing within us, filling us with love, gratitude, and compassion. And so it is. And let's finish with our affirmative prayer. If you guys want to join in on this one. Love is our ultimate reality, everywhere present and whole. It radiates abundantly and continually creates good in my life and in the world. As we gratefully acknowledge the presence and power of love now, we see the people and circumstances we hold in prayer healed and illumined by love. And so it is. Awesome. Let's go to song with Soul Shine. Soul Shine.
Northern lights in our skies, plants that grow and open your mind, things that swim with the neon glow. How we all got here, nobody knows. These are real things. These are real things. Oh, what a world. Don't wanna leave. All kinds of magic all around us. It's hard to believe. Thank God it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. Did I know you once in another life?
Huh?
Are we here just once or
Yeah,
a
but I
million
can't
times?
click or like look
Well,
at
I wish I knew,
fixing that video show.
but it doesn't matter, 'cause you're here right now, and I know how I feel, and these are real things. Yeah, these are real things. Oh, what a world. I don't wanna leave. All kinds of magic all around us. It's hard to believe. Thank God it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. And then there is These are real things. These are real things. Oh, what a world. There's all kinds of magic. Tell me it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful oh, what a world.
Whoa, soul shine. Thank you. Woo. Virtual clapping here. Beautiful, beautiful as usual. I would love to introduce to you guys our guest speaker today. So Reverend Jane is here. She's online, but she's having a little break with her family. And we are blessed to have William Gregory sharing. Now, William's been with our community for quite some time. I'm not sure exactly how long, maybe he'll share, but as long as I can remember, William's been there. And one of the things I love about William is his thoughtfulness, his connection to spirit, and his true ability to convey his feelings in a poetic, beautiful way. And I know we're putting a lot of pressure on William, but anyway, I've always loved listening to William share and talk and inspire us. So I'm super excited to have him with us today. And he's going to lead us through a meditation and then into his talk. So I'm going to turn it over to William.
Hi, I'm William, and it's an honor to be here. And for our meditation, let's close our eyes and for a moment feel the weight of our bodies. Scooch in and get comfortable. And just bring your attention to your breath. In Hebrew, the word for breath is ruah, which also means spirit. It's interesting to note that the Latin word for breath, spiritum, is where we get the word respiration or respiration. In Greek, it's pneuma, which also means spirit or soul. So as we bring our attention and retract it back out of time and space and material world, just to our breath, we breathe all day, 24 hours a day, but mostly unconsciously. Let these be conscious breaths. Let's feel the coolness of our breath coming through our nose and across our throat, feeling it radiate throughout our being. Let's slowly bring our awareness inward to our center and sink into that. Sink into the center from where our perception emanates, the place where we become a witness of all our feelings and sensation, a witness to the thoughts that go across the screens of our minds. And let's sink into this. This center, this inner part of our being is innocent. It's simply being as things pass by. Let's do this because we're worthy of this. We're worthy of taking this moment to nurture ourselves. And let's sit in silence in the wholeness it's always been and always will be for a few moments. Let's slowly bring our attention back to the here and now. It's such an honor to be part of this community, and I've been a part of this community for a little over 8 years. But to have a group of people to come together to discuss ideas and concepts of our origin, spirituality, what's really important to us now. And a lot of times, I try to wrap my brain around what's led us up to this. Sometimes, especially when I think of it on the macrocosm, it just seems bizarre to me that we as a species right now are the sum total of everything that's happened to us. It's carried in our DNA. And we've gone from countless generations of hunters and gatherers, countless generations of agrarian societies, kings, nobles, serfs, warlords, peasants, to the Industrial Revolution, the steam engine, electricity, nuclear technology, instantaneous worldwide communication in the space of a couple of generations. We're in a time of change that's unprecedented. And the change isn't only manifesting in the world around us, and it is. One of the big things that we're dealing with is personal sovereignty. There was a time when humans didn't have rights. The only people that had rights were people of noble birth. And then it was men, white men, mainly with money and property. But it's only recently that we've recognized and passed laws for the rights of different races, for women, that women have rights and children have rights and people of different sexual orientations have rights. It's as though we're awakening consciously to the idea that we all have rights. And that's being extended to ecosystems, that forests have rights, that oceans have rights. And in the 60s, when we first looked from space at the Earth, and as a species realized that we're part of a greater whole, the consciousness shift or paradigm shift began to happen. And it's been happening for a while, but with change comes great resistance. And with change sometimes comes pain. And some of us are further along that idea of all of us having rights, all of us deserving dignity. Because it's not just about laws being passed and whether or not they're enforced, but it's about acceptance of us all coming from a same source, that there's one source for all of this. And to judge any part of it as being wrong hurts. And in this paradigm, this thing that's happening, we have a choice to be part of it. We have a choice to be part of that empowerment. And it starts from the inside out. It starts from inside and then goes out. And it starts with our thoughts. Because we wake up inside of ourselves every day. And we go to sleep inside of ourselves every day. And I truly believe the first part of waking up is listening to the conversations in our heads and noticing them. I heard a cool thing in a dream one time, and I'll never forget it. It goes like this. Follow me on a little journey in words. Darkness reminds us of light. Fear reminds us of love. Weakness reminds us of strength. Hang on, time out. Darkness reminds us of light. Fear reminds us of love. Weakness reminds us of strength. It is only because we come from light that darkness is unclear. It is only because we come from love that fear is uncomfortable. It is only because we are designed to be free that any degree of helplessness we find to be so disgusting. If we were designed to suffer, then suffering would feel good. And that's a compass for us. When we begin to watch our minds, we begin to notice ideas and thoughts and concepts and belief systems that no longer serve us. Anything that hurts isn't something we would choose to feed. And yet, what do we feed with what we watch or what we read? What do we feed with the scenarios we run in our mind? It's a powerful idea that we're not our thoughts. Just like our bodies breathing every day with no conscious effort, our mind is turning all the time with no conscious effort. It just goes. Sometimes it goes to places we don't want to go. And that's the beginning of waking up. It's a beginning of personal sovereignty. To start to consider what thoughts and beliefs that do not serve us any longer. And we end up projecting out our own insecurities on other people. There's a concept called polarity. And I learned it first from the Hermetic teachings, and Jane noted on it recently. So just as an idea, as a working concept, let's take temperature. Temperature is one thing. You could say 20 degrees is cold, you could say 80 degrees is hot, but they're both different degrees on a pole of spectrum. If we take, for instance, love is one thing, but there are degrees of love and shadows of love. If someone's operating at a state of fear, they're going to act and behave out of a state of fear. I've done shadow work, and I probably will be doing shadow work for the rest of my life, where I come up with a thought or concept or belief system that no longer serves me. It doesn't make me happy. It brings me pain or suffering. And a lot of times I've gone through my life and thought about the times when I felt small, I felt afraid, times when I behaved badly or felt deeply ashamed. And now I look back at those moments and I can see that time I was in a great deal of fear. I was scared. And instead of thinking that I'm bad, I can now see that as, well, I was operating from a state of fear. And now that I look out at the world, when I look out of the world using this perspective, I'm not in a place of judgment as much. When I see things in the world that hurt my feelings or I feel afraid about, those people aren't bad. They come from the same source that we do, but they're operating from a state of fear. And in this consciousness that's happening and developing, we have a choice. It's kind of a big deal. It is a big deal. And it reminds me of another illustration that I would like to share with you. This I heard in a dream also. There was a little boy and there was a little girl, and they were lost in a dungeon. And the dungeon was cold and dark and damp, and they had been lost in this dungeon for so long they had forgotten anything else. It was all they knew. And one day, as they crawled out of a cramped corridor, they entered into a chamber that felt expansive, and they noticed up high something glimmering, something shimmering, something bright. And they walked towards it as though it were an answer to a question they didn't know they were asking, but they wanted the answer all the same. As they drew closely, they noticed that rising up off of the dungeon floor was a narrow staircase. And they trepidly began walking up the staircase, holding hands. And as they approached this light, they saw that there was a door barely cracked open. And the light was streaming through the crack in the door, and they just reached out their hand to touch the light, just to feel the light. And just as they were about to touch the light, a voice emanated up off the dungeon floor, and it said, "Little boy, little girl, whatever you do, don't go into the light." And the little boy looked down into the dungeon and said, "Why not go into the light? It's beautiful, it's golden, it's shimmering." And the voice said, "Whatever you do, don't go into the light, for it will expose you for the naked, pathetic little creatures you are." And the little boy looked at the door and looked back down into the dungeon. And then the voice said, "Come back down here where it's safe." And the little boy didn't know what to do. And the little girl, all she could think of was getting on the other side of that door and dancing in the light. And she pulled him up towards the door, and he held his ground. And there came a moment of decision. And the real question is, what would you wish for them to do? And the truth of that is, what you wish for them, you wish for you. Should they bust open the light, dance in the light, or go back down into the dungeon? And in a lot of ways, that's a decision we make for ourselves. When I first saw that in a dream, I didn't realize I was that little boy. It was as though I had a feeling of unworthiness. I didn't feel like I deserved to be happy. That was old programming. But the part of personal sovereignty is busting that door open. It's making that choice. It's looking at ourselves honestly and healing the aspects of ourselves that are not operating properly. Recognizing when we're coming out or when we're operating from fear. And we have some guides to this that are built within us. And one of the big ones is our breath. When we're in a state of fear or resistance, our breath gets shallow. When we're in a state of happiness or ease, our breath is deeper, it's easier. When we're in a state of fear, our body's building cortisol and adrenaline, which then breaks down our immune system. When we're in a state of love, our immune system's operating, our body's operating at optimum levels. We're able to learn and retain more. It's something that's a personal decision for each of us in any given moment, and it's a practice, but we're worthy of this. It's a practice that pays dividends. In my life, the more I do this, it's almost like, hang on, time out. When I get in a negative spin, I can feel a vortex spinning down. And I used to be a victim of that because I didn't know anything else. My mind would spin off to try to find every reason to justify and prove this vortex. Or if I was feeling insecure, I might act in hubris or arrogance because I was compensating for something. And the more I practice forgiveness, forgiving myself first, you can't give away something you don't have, but even forgiving myself a moment of anger and making amends, or forgiving myself and loving myself when I feel scared. It's, they call it inter-parent work, that where before I had no voice soothing me, now I have a voice there. As I grow to love myself, I'm able to love others. And that's a practice too. It's interesting how my values have changed in what I think is really valuable. You know, I was raised to where who shouted the loudest and threw the biggest fit wins. And my values completely changed to one of more humility. Sometimes I think not sometimes, I do think real superhero powers are powers like forgiveness. When we forgive ourselves, we set ourselves free. When we forgive others, we set the world free. There is an innate intelligence to life. Life has an innate intelligence, and it knows where it's going. And we're part of life. Life isn't simply happening to us as perceivers. We're part of this life that's happening. We're not only receiving, but we're transmitting all the time. There's another concept such as grace. And grace is a real thing. I see it as an infinitely recurring undulation of light, sound, frequency, vibration flowing through and around all things and encompassing everything in between. And it's accessible to us at all times. And we can have grace for ourselves. We can have grace for others. Right now, this is a beautiful time to be alive. This is an epic time to be alive. Our forefathers plowed the same 20 acres their whole life. They died at 40 from impacted molars. Our mothers often died at childbirth. They ate the same food day after day. And we live in a time of some great abundance. And as the paradigm shifts, resources will change, values will change, and we get to be a part of that change. We get to be conscious and sovereign of our own beings. And we have this time to work on ourselves. What a beautiful time, because we're the ones who have to live with ourselves for the rest of our lives. And our lives do go beyond the body. But while we're here in the body, what a great time to nurture ourselves, to plant seeds of empowerment, to meditate on beautiful things. Our mind is working 24 hours a day and creating 24 hours a day, and often we're not conscious of it. It takes diligence and vigilance to become conscious of it and continue to work on it. However, the payoff is we become agents of light in a time of perceived fear. We become channels of the loving cosmos. We become a person that we can snuggle up with and fall asleep with peace in our minds and our hearts open. And that's pretty much it. Also, I wanted to say something about the holographic nature of this reality. Through quantum mechanics and mathematics, we're discovering its holographic nature. We're all electromagnetic beings. If we can hold grace within us, learn to live with it. I mean, learn to be comfortable with grace. It's a beautiful thing. And I've seen people with grace walk into a room of disturbance and just change the whole room. When we can look past someone's moment of fear and see the truth in them, we're bringing that out. When we believe in them, we're giving them permission to believe in themselves. When we trust, we're giving people permission to trust themselves. And blessings, my God, we have this magnificent power to bless each other, to bless moments and situations. It's totally socially acceptable to curse. It blows my mind. I remember in the 80s, what was popular was making someone feel small so that you could feel better. Every TV show, sitcom would have characters in it. There would be one or two characters that just jokes were made about that person constantly so everyone else could feel better about themselves. There's no victory in the defeat of someone else, and there's no defeat in the victory of someone else. We do not need to stand in each other's shadows. The idea that we can source our self-esteem by someone else feeling smaller is an empty feeling. And the idea that if we see someone better than us, we have to feel smaller is an empty feeling. Our personal sovereignty is not subject to the perspective of the world. Our personal sovereignty is eternal. Waking up to our personal sovereignty allows us to be a player in this life, allows us to shape and mold this life to what we're worthy of, and then to give that respect back to others. And we're having conversations today that our grandparents couldn't dream of. We're experiencing things today that are completely unprecedented. And we can bring this light into everything we do, and it feels good. It's our natural state. It's what we're worthy of. And I just want to thank Kevin and Nico and Claire and Jane and the whole Unity team and Soulshine. This didn't come out exactly how I had planned, but that's basically what I wanted to talk about, is our innate sovereignty and how we as a species are waking up to that. And it may not be televised, but it's happening everywhere all the time. And it may not be universally implemented, but we've come so far in such a short period of time. And this is a beautiful age to be alive. This is a beautiful time right now. And this will all have its ebbs and flows. Life has its natural ebbs and flows, and this too shall pass. We will be meeting together in person again. And if we look for the best, we will be given the best. Our mind is a super magnifying organ in us, and whatever we focus on will come to us. Whatever we focus on will magnify and grow. It's been proven over and over again. And I'm grateful to be here. It's an honor. And I just love you guys, and thank you. And I can keep talking. I can recite.
Do it, recite.
You are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the Blessing, blessing, your blessing to the world.
It's a blessing.
Are the heart,
It's a
you
blessing.
are the hands,
It's a blessing.
Wow, that was so beautiful. Thank you, Soulshine. I know, I can only imagine after all these months of having to perform to a camera. And so I commend you guys because it's not nearly as fun when you have us singing and clapping and dancing in front of you. So we so appreciate you doing that. And oh my gosh, William, what an amazing talk. I don't know if any of you were on here before we started, before 10, but he was not feeling super confident, but that was, and I just knew, I mean, this man, every time he speaks, just amazing, beautiful words come out of his mouth. And that's, again, exactly what happened. And it kind of reminded me on our trip, I read Viktor Frankl's A Man's Search for Meaning, and what a super powerful book. But a lot of things that you talked about kind of reminded me of things that were written and shared in that book. So beautiful. Jane, do you want to share anything?
William, I'm just so proud of you. And one of the things I love about this community is how many people are interested in becoming unity ministers and are on varying points along that path. And William is one of them. And as I watched you, I thought, oh, there's a unity minister. I could just see it and feel it about you. And I'm so appreciative that you were able to be here and share your wisdom with us. The meditation, I was thinking, oh, this is a man who has a strong meditation practice and it just radiates from him. So I'm so happy to have experienced you today, and that the larger group got to experience you too.
Yes, that was really beautiful. So I want to quickly go through some announcements after that wonderful talk and that amazing music. And it just feels so good to be back here with you guys after 2 months of being on the road. So a couple things.